Hey, everybody, welcome back. I got another great guest, friend of Fayetteville Comic Con, LJ Bowens. LJ has been running with Fayetteville Comic Con for quite some time. You may recognize LJ from his work as our premier MC for Nerd Slam. Also going to talk to LJ a little bit about some of the things that he has had to reschedule this spring. Spoken Word Festival that was going to be running the same weekend leading up into Fayetteville Comic Con back there in April, as well as just a preview of what he's going to be bringing with some of his crew to our show Saturday night on June 27th, either live right now that you're going to follow right from here, or you'll see this preview. But make sure to tune in on June 27th between 4 and 9 p.m. Tickets available www.fayettevillecomiccon.com. LJ, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. It's been a crazy year because I'm not gonna say what it is, but we're just gonna call it the invisible bully going around like try to shut everybody down. But it's been good because you're still able to find some type of underlying blessings within the madness. So I'm good. I'm good. I'm still breathing. I got 10 fingers, 10 toes, and still making things happen while I can. So
Well, that's awesome. And I think one of the good things I've just been saying to everybody I've been talking to is even though we're all friends and we're all friends at shows, we could see everybody, we're all one big family. That's our place to meet. Those of us that don't necessarily live in the same area don't get into each other's homes as much as we could, and especially now social distancing. So I love seeing everybody's backdrop on these calls and see what they got back there. I think obviously I see some diplomas and things, but I think I see some toys over there on the one shoulder and stuff.
I honestly wish I could show you this whole room. It's like so this is what we call our think tank, me and my wife. So we got diplomas in here. We got awards in here. On one side of our room, we have art by a lot of the local artists and a whole bunch of other stuff that we have. So this is like pretty much our sanctuary away from everything. We need to take time, relax, think, and just be inspired. I love it. So all that stuff you see right there, majority of that's my wife. So I gotta give props where it's due. So
Absolutely, and anytime somebody like myself can appreciate, because I married up. My I don't deserve my woman, but married 21 years, and that's why I just do what I'm told. You'd see the same thing back here, but my producer guy told me it was too busy, and so I put up some curtains. So
okay, gotcha.
behind that curtain is all the magic. Um, LJ, give us a quick little rundown for those people watching that may not have experienced Fayetteville Comic Con and just don't know how cool and wide open Nerd Slam is. Give us a little talk about that.
Yeah, so with Fayetteville Comic Con itself, Fayetteville Comic Con is, I think, when it first started, and this is just to compare with some of the other Comic Cons that was going on at the time, because I know NC Comic Con was the main one, and then it was called Raleigh SuperCon at the time, but now it's called Galaxy Con, was like a big one that came here, and then there was Fayetteville Comic Con, but Fayetteville Comic Con itself is, to me, now the biggest one, especially because we're doing it twice a year. I don't know, like, in the one city that we're in, we're doing it twice a year now. So it's been one of the best ones to come to. You have a lot of fun interactions with the guests, the panels that we have going on, and everybody literally becomes like a family in a sense, because one of the things that we do at our con and a lot of cons are doing is giving it that atmosphere that everybody is equal and everybody is wanted there. We don't try to segregate nothing from the other. Everything is welcome there. And I've been actually a part of Fayetteville Comic Con doing panels there since the second one. So it's been a blessing to almost be doing a panel there as long as the Comic Con itself. As far as Nerd Slam, quick history with Nerd Slam isn't nothing new to the world in a sense, because back in early 2000s, the National Poetry Slam done a thing called Nerd Slam where poets would compete just to try to do a nerd poem. But I ended up going to one, and I didn't like some of the things they were doing there because it seemed like they would nerd shame folks, which is basically saying they're not nerd enough if they know certain things, or just say you're not a nerd because this is not considered a nerd category, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard before in my life. So what I wanted to do was I ended up incorporating it and changing up a little bit, because one, there always should be a winner to certain things and competitions, but two, when it came to Comic-Con and inviting the idea to Comic-Con, I wanted to kind of separate it from a poetry event and literally just make it about the competition, because a lot of people like the competition. So we've been blessed to do it with Fayetteville Comic Con since, like I said, the second year I came and the second year of its inception. But we've been able to take it across the world, not the world, but the country, doing it in numerous Comic Cons and numerous poetry conventions. So to be coming home every year as like the final one of the year, it's the big one for me, because it's the only one we do for 2 days. And I love that home is the only one we get to do it more than 2 days, build up that excitement, get people to come back, and also just have a great showing of people and their knowledge about what they feel that they're very nerdy in, whether it's music, whether it's comic books, whether it's TV shows, whether it's movies. It's a blessing to see the knowledge people have and know the questions off the bat. So it's fun. I've always enjoyed it. I love being a person not competing, but being the one giving all the questions and the tiebreakers. So it's been a blessing, and it's always a good show. And we literally have maybe 40 people come the first time, and now we almost be close to 100 or more, depending on the venues we're at. So it's a blessing to always have it happen that way.
Absolutely. And a very high energy experience. You got some great other panelists that you have in there. We spoke with Hector Murray. He's going to be part of our show here. Obviously, Hector, Faith and Fandom,
Yes.
Big part of Fayetteville Comic Con. DJ Clash Queensbridge. DJ Clash is always is bringing the heat with some house music and hip hop during that Nerd Slam. And the thing you brought up that so hits and resonates with me is that Fayetteville Comic Con is inclusive of not just race and gender identity or sexual orientation or any of that, just inclusive of anybody that walks in those doors has an opportunity to be geek if they want, right? They have a chance to do something. And events like Nerd Slam and those interactions allow people to experience other great properties, other great fandoms. Yeah, I'm talking to some friends last night about anime, and I always use the example of there was this kid at a con who was so excited about his One Piece cosplay. And I had never watched One Piece. I had heard of it peripherally through my daughters, but then I got into it because he was excited about it. And because he had that excitement in that interaction and that commitment to his cosplay, his character, I kind of felt I owed it to him to experience a little bit more of that, to put him in context. Same with friend Randy Chavez, who comes to Fayetteville Comic Con. Mm-hmm. He's been coming as he cosplays Captain Spaulding from House of a Thousand Corpses. I'm not the biggest horror fan. I've seen a bunch of movies, not necessarily as knowledgeable about things, but then it's great to interface with other fans. So a little bit about some of those experiences that you may have had in cons, because I know you're also out there, you're at a table talking to people, interacting, especially we try to get it for young kids to have an opportunity to really find their self. Some of those experiences you've had.
Yeah, we had one kid, and this was at another con, and it was funny because, and I had it's good and it's bad because I had to change it only because of a certain thing that happened. But the youngest person I've ever had compete in a Nerd Slam was 9 years old, and they did Roblox. So we literally had to think on the fly, what could we do with Roblox? And they did good up until the semifinals, but then once they lost because of a tiebreaker question, they started crying, and we had to let them know things happen. It happens, but we only changed that rule to make it like a little bit older, just so that way kids don't feel sad like they've done something wrong because they haven't. And another thing that I'm glad you brought that up with Nerd Slam, we always incorporate that even if a person doesn't know a question, you don't boo them, you don't say nothing about them, you cheer them on and help them through. Because the biggest thing is when you're in the space that we create, you're family with us for an hour or however long we got. So we're going to treat each other like family. We're going to give everybody the biggest praise when they know something. We're going to hype everybody up when they come to the stage, because that energy is reciprocal. And when you give people that energy, they give it back to other people, and then it just becomes this big chain of events. And that's the thing that make cons what they are, or just life what it is, when you have positive energy and you disperse it amongst the masses, and it just keeps spreading and spreading and spreading in a good way. But yeah, the Nerd Slam has been a beautiful thing. We've had people do the first season of Power Rangers. We had somebody literally come to one Comic-Con event and literally say they just want to do spiders. And when we found questions about spiders, they knew the questions about spiders. So it's like I said, it's the amazing thing of seeing people knowing so much when it comes to that, because they feel they're nerdy about those things. So, I mean, it puts them to the challenge. And even if they don't get it, they literally will come back next year or find out what con we're at, because they missed that one question. They study just to come back and try to win. And we have tons of people that come every year try to reclaim that glory of the question they missed. So it's always fun to see it happen.
So obviously this it that shall not be named, he that we cannot see, whatever we were going to claim this bully. A lot of people aren't able to get that experience. That's one of the reasons we're trying to do this Fayetteville Comic Con live segment and do some other interactive things, because obviously our show is made up of our vendors and our fans and our artists and our panelists. And what I really miss is that energy and that ability to just put people in a place where they can absorb that and empower themselves and have that experience. What are some of the ways that you think that and I'm asking this of everybody we're doing some interviews with, is the best way to find that positivity here in a virtual world? There's so much negativity online. Everybody knows that, from trolling to the term I just found out about, virtue signaling, just hopping on a bandwagon and running that, and how that leads to such negativity. So what we're trying to do is offer these opportunities for people to see how everybody's doing, what they're up to, what they're interested in. How have you been able to get some of your geek done over this isolated period?
So with me, it's funny you mentioned that. So with me, I have two poet friends that are very nerdy as well. We ended up actually starting a podcast called The Ninja, the Nerd, and the Nubian. And all we do is talk about like nerd stuff and have debates. And that's how we've been getting our geek on. But what we do to make it interactive, because of course, when you're on a virtual platform, you try to find ways to make it interactive. We normally, when we stream it either on YouTube or Facebook, when we do simulcast, we open up the comment box. We want people to tune in. And even if we can't get to all the questions, we try to post the questions on the board so we can address them. Or what we do is, the fact that you have such an open board and people are tuning in, sometimes conversations get started in there, and it's always positive. Like, I mean, the biggest thing is we always set the ground rules, and I think with anything, it's setting the ground rules, letting people know, hey, we understand it's the time we're in. We know y'all want to be out publicly, but in the same breath, we're still giving y'all an experience. If you even look at how we look at shows on TV, whether it be a movie, whether it be if you watch wrestling in a sense, and even with them, they're having their problems, they can't get people there, or just any cartoon or something, you get excited watching it on TV. So there's no reason why you can't experience some of these things the same way. Now, granted, you're not at a live concert, but you still experience it in some way, shape, or form. You get hyped when you see something happen in a movie. You get hyped when you see a certain wrestling move done on a person, whether it's on TV when you do a pay-per-view. So it's just letting them know, like, this is what we have, and this is what we're going to do to make it through, because at the end of the day, we're going to see the light through all this. This is just our way of taking the baby steps to get to the light at the end of the tunnel. So it may have stopped the one thing, but it did not stop the show. As with this, that's what we're doing right now. It may have stopped the physical aspect of us being there in a certain space, but it doesn't stop the show, and we're still making something happen.
So you've explored some ways to keep making that happen. We'll make sure that we link your podcast, the Ninja, the Nerd, and the Nubian.
Yes.
Did I get that straight?
Yeah.
In comments and everything. One of the things I always tell creators, because I don't do a lot of it, I don't do a lot of YouTube, I don't do a lot of Ninja, I have so many other things, just trying to get other people together, which is my role. But one of the things I always tell people is, even if you only have a couple people tuning in, a couple people watching, don't stop making that creation, because you never know what's going to click, what people are going. And if you maintain a positive approach to that, and you have a message of positivity in a topic that you're interested in, whether it's comic books, whether it's movies, whether it's wrestling, you can't get discouraged. And I think a lot of great creators have, just got turned off, because we had that flood of podcasts, some time back, that then kind of filtered out into some really, really strong continued ones. But people have been doing that, and they're turning it over, and new great stuff's coming on. What do you give advice to those people who are creating that spoken word content? And when I say spoken word there, I mean that audio type or audio visual type delivery.
Keep creating. So the crazy thing is, me and my wife had this conversation about the year. Like, we went to the year saying that 2020 was going to be the year we see things clearly. We're going to have a vision to do things. And even if you look at the aspect of what has happened with the invisible bully shutting things down, it's literally almost like a process of the caterpillar to becoming the butterfly. So what I mean by that is, if you, as a creative, the biggest thing we can do in this time where we're sitting to ourselves is to create. So there's no such thing as a bad idea. I mean, all ideas, even if they seem bad, they get filtered through and they can get shifted to become something better when you have a group of people or just certain things around you. So take this time to create as much as you can, because even if you feel like one idea isn't working, there's other ideas that you can do. I mean, myself, I picked up learning how to play acoustic guitar in this downtime. So I'm still learning how to do that in a creative aspect. And then the idea of doing live events have not so much been my cup of tea, too much, because I love being in front of a crowd, but I've got a better appreciation for it now because it's another avenue to create. So now we have the platforms where we can do podcasts and more things, and just whatever your niche is, like, even if it seems like a bad idea, try it. Be a creative. If you're creative, this is the time we create, because you never know when all this is said and done and you built the footprint on what you're doing at this time. When the world opens back up, you already got a head start on people that's just going to start thinking about, oh, I could do a podcast now, but you're 3 months in and you've already created the platform to learn the ins and outs. So just keep going with the creative process, keep going. And by the time everything opens up, you'll be set and the crowd's going to get bigger.
Yeah. So, as part of preparing for this show's Saturday and the part that you're going to be participating in with some of your friends doing a spoken word presentation, we've had a great chance to talk to people who've turned their attention from making cosplay costumes to making creative masks for people. Spoke with a dude Dion there in Fayetteville yesterday on that exact thing. I know him from being able to put together some really great stitching on big cosplays, but now he's turned his attention to providing some geek sort of mass so people can still experience that. Talked to Jason Richardson of J1 Studios, who runs J1 Con up in Atlantic City out of Philly. He's also Spider Tribble on the podcast Black Tribbles, which is in their 10th year and their final year. And he's saying the same thing. He's saying, if you know how to do something, keep doing it. If you need to figure out how to do something, start doing it, and then reach out to people that know how to do that. And we have that ability to interact with each other, even if it's over this, magic box that sits on my desk, right? Yeah. Randy Green, our son, he's the frontman, one of the two frontmen for Gangsta Grass. He's doing an interview with Afua Richardson on Friday, and we're going to be talking about Afua's comic book art tied into some of the hip hop covers that she's done for the Marvel hip hop, like this awesome X-Men 92, with the 92 to Infinity cover. That's one of the subsets of comics I collect, because I love hip hop and I love comics, and I like having the DVD cover or the album, if I got it on vinyl, and the comic next to each other, and look at that comparison. It just resonates to me. And we all know that if you've ever been to one of the NC Comic Con shows where Daryl McDaniels, DMC, has been, he says the exact same thing. Wear your nerd badge with pride, and if that's what that's what you can go out in the world and talk about, and that's what you can go out and create. You don't have to be pigeonholed. Any of those experiences that you've had that have really resonated to that, especially like you've reinforced already, picking up some of those things during this time alone?
As far as the reinforcement of like picking up the nerd badge and all that good stuff, I mean, definitely, because I think with being a nerd, it's always in one sense been frowned upon. Like, you weren't part of the cool kids if you like read books and watch cartoons a lot and seem like you know everything. But I think everybody now gets a better appreciation of it. And then there's people that's been nerds in a way, but never knew they were nerds. So now that they're having that opportunity to embrace what they truly have been, it's the blessing of it. I think it's just like almost like life is almost like high school. Is you feel that the thing you do the most is not cool to the people that you think it matters. And I say, even with that, we have to stop thinking like that. Like, we literally have to stop thinking like that. If you embrace who you are, don't try to change who you are just to try to fit into the in crowd or the it. Like, this is you. You were made this way for a reason. You love the things you love for a reason. Embrace it. I mean, people have always that insight of wanting to try to change you to fit their narrative, but no one never wants to see people for theirs most of the time. So I'm a DMC and everybody like embrace the nerddom, embrace what you love, embrace what you do, and who like the sky is always the limit when it comes to these things. So never stifle your creativity in the person that you are because of people. Because once you give yourself a ceiling, then it's going to be hard to break it because of what you've been taking in your head for so long from other people.
That's perfect. And like you said at the beginning of our talk today, Fayetteville Comic Con is one big family, and every family has a lot of different personalities, different types, people with different interests. But when you all get together around that table, or all get together at that reunion of the park, and when we all get together again, I'm sure that love and respect and interest and just thing is just going to be overflowed, even if it's at a distance of 6 feet.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
I can't wait, man. Like I said, I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a fun weekend. I'm treating it just like I would be treating it if like if we was in a public space. It's gonna be a fun con. I'm excited. I know a lot of people are excited for it. I've been sharing it because at the end of the day, it's a con. I need a con in my life right now. So let's have fun.
plus, Veronica Taylor, Gigi Edgley, Jake the Snake Roberts, Megan Hollingshead, creator, writer, and producers from the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which is in its 30th year. We couldn't let that go by without celebrating. So we're going to have a great weekend, both starting on the Friday Night Marketplace channel, Saturday night for our live show. LJ, you're going to be a big part of it, and I'm looking forward to talking to you this weekend, brother.
Definitely. I can't wait. Can't wait to see you on Saturday.
Thank you for taking time, and say hi to everybody, and have a blessed day.
You too.